Hello, I'm Joe Walensky from Blink, and I'm speaking with some of the many presenters who will be at our ConveyUX event coming up in Seattle, first week of February. Today I'm speaking with Andrew Hinton. Hello, Andrew.
Hi,
Where are you speaking to us from today?
I am in the Philadelphia area trying to stay warm.
All right. Well, if you're not familiar with Andrew, he is an information architect at the Understanding Group, aka TUG. He's a co-founder and past board member of the IA Institute, and Andrew's currently working on a book for O'Reilly on how information shapes our experience of context. And Andrew's topic in Seattle will be The World is the Screen, Understanding Information Environments. So give us a little preview of what you're going to talk about, Andrew.
Sure, Joe. So basically, the gist of this talk is trying to nudge us toward getting away from thinking about things in terms of devices and screens so much as let's look past all that to the environment that's around us, because that's really where we live and that's how we understand our world. And then all this other stuff that we make is really just more environmental stuff that we put into that broader environment. So the whole world really is the quote unquote screen that people are interacting with. And in fact, so much of what we're going to be designing over the next dozen years is more and more going to be stuff that doesn't even necessarily have a screen. It's just going to be the way that we interact with the Internet of Things and ubiquitous computing and the way that the environment's been made smarter around us. So in order for us to tackle something that complex, we have to maybe let go of a lot of the assumptions that we've been designing with so far and really dig deep into understanding how people understand their environment and the context around them and the way that their cognition works. So there's some stuff in there about a theory called embodied cognition, as well as examples and whatnot about how there are different kinds of information in our environment that we have to consider, and the ways in which people interact with and understand those different kinds of information. So it's a little neat. It's a little nerdy, a little geeky, and it is theoretical. But what I say often is that designers really ought, in order to get better, we have to understand the nature of the materials, right? So a potter needs to understand what kind of clay they're working with and the properties of that. Um, it's important for us to understand what the properties of the stuff that we're actually molding in the world, what it is, and a lot of that has to do with the way people's cognition and interaction with their bodies works.
Have there, what kind of experiences were you involved with that kind of brought you to your thinking about this topic, which kind of informed the direction that you've gone in?
Yeah, well, for years, I mean, I've self-identified as an information architect, and one of the things that has been an underlying kind of conversation in that field for a long time is, well, what is it that we're architecting? When we say information, what do we really mean by that? And there are a lot of different ways that we can look at that. And so that was one of the reasons why, is because for years I'd realized that people were kind of inhabiting these digital places in ways that affected them, and that they sort of thought through and figured out in almost a physical way. There's a whole body of theory around something called information foraging and information scent and things like that. So I just wanted to get to the bottom of it because I felt like, well, if I'm going to get better at what I do, I want to really understand what it is that I'm putting people into as an information architect. So just ruminating and obsessing over that for 12, 15 years, it led me toward writing this book on context, which I think is kind of a central issue in all of this. And then just trying to come up with a practical way of just identifying all the different parts and pieces and that we're working with when we do this stuff, rather than just saying information or environment or context or interaction, and not really nailing down what do we mean when we say that.
All right. Well, I think we'll have some interesting discussions at the conference around that. And so we'll see you in Seattle in just about a month, a little less than
I'm,
that.
I'm looking forward to it. That's great.
All
Thanks.
right. Thank you.